useful to get enrolled in DNHE, you are given preference if you fulfill certain other requirements of that diploma program. Let us come to the programs of the rural development now. Rural development offers programs as the Masters of Art in Rural Development, the Postgraduate Diploma in Rural Development, the Certificate in Rural Development, and these are offered both through the open and distance mode and the online mode. Having done these programs, you would find opportunities in national and international development organizations, developmental projects of the government, industries, and even the corporate. Many national and international organizations like NABARD, WHO, UNICEF, UNDP also provide employment potential. An interesting program is the Diploma in Panchayat Level Administration and Development meant for Panchayat level functionaries, and it equips you with the necessary knowledge for strengthening local democracy and people's participation. Let us see the programs of Home Science. There are very many contemporary programs in this discipline, and one of these is the Diploma in Event Management, an upcoming industry now. If you do this diploma, you would find yourself employment opportunities as creative director and designer, event planner and coordinator, wedding manager, artist manager, decor designer, and many, many more. Another recently launched program is the Certificate in Apparel Merchandising, which is related to the textiles. And here you would find yourself employed as merchandiser, as fashion, textile, and also visual merchandiser, as fashion consultant, as fashion trend analyst, as import-export manager, to name just a few. So a lot of these programs are offered in the open and distance mode, and some of these programs are offered in the online mode. The programs which are offered in the open and distance learning mode, you can find out more about them through the common prospectus, and you can please note the website of the Samarth portal where all of the programs are available as the open and distance learning programs. And the online programs, which are the Certificate in Food and Nutrition, the Masters in Rural Development, the Postgraduate Diploma in Rural Development, and the Certificate in Rural Development, they are available separately through an online portal. So we really are looking forward that you would be scrolling through the Ignou prospectus and the Ignou website. If you have any questions, we are there to answer through email or through telephone. And when you will be enrolled in these programs, you will be assigned a study center where you will be interacting directly with academic counselors who are senior academics in the field. So all in all, you will definitely have an enriching learning experience for your own personal growth as well as for career building. So wishing you all the very best and seeing you all soon enrolled at Ignou.
Welcome to the session on basic concepts of nursing research. In this session, you will learn about what is evidence, why we need to do a research, what are the paradigms, what are the importance of nursing research, and meaning of some of the important terms. As we know, we are living in a world of quality, cost effectiveness, transparency, decision making. From where all these things comes? These comes from the evidence, which is produced from the research. And nowadays, evidence which is being produced through research cannot be taken from years back research like it used to be. Like years back we used to say 10 years back this study has suggested this. But now evidence may have the life of 2 years, 5 years maximum. So continuous research is very important. It is a systematic inquiry that uses various methods to solve the issues, problems, and to answer the questions. It helps to enhance the knowledge and the skills of the nurses to provide quality care. It also helps for clinical efficiency and the cost efficiency. If you remember kangaroo mother care, there was a time selected preterm babies used to get kangaroo mother care. But now the preterm babies and the babies who are born early before 37 weeks, all the babies are to be given kangaroo mother care. And now even in the normal delivery, it is being, as per the guidelines, it is being said immediately a child has to be put on the chest of the mother and the cord is cut there. So these evidence, from where it comes? These comes from the research studies. So now let us see what are the sources of evidence. Years back, tradition was considered as one of the important source of evidence because nurses used to say traditionally we are doing some procedure or traditionally we give care like this. Traditionally handover is done from bed to bed. But what is the evidence? That was not there. So you can see tradition is one of the way, but it is not scientifically proved. Authority, person with specialized knowledge. If person is having specialized knowledge and the skill, they used to say when this person is saying this, this is evidence can be taken into consideration. But again, it may have the biasness. Clinical experience, working for years in the operation theatre, in ICU or any other ward. A nurse may have the clinical experience and may say, this is my experience says if you do something like this, this will have a good output or the care will be efficient or cost effective. This can be taken into consideration, but again scientifically it is not being proved. Then trial and error. Suppose there is some situation and by trial and error someone is able to solve the problem. But again it can be a situational, it can be a through by chance, but again it will have a you can say biasness. Gathered information is another source of evidence. That means information in the hospital is collected for various purposes, maybe for report writing, decision making, or to see the effect of the care, or for any meeting purpose, but that may give some evidence. But again, how authentic is that information? How you can interpret just from the data some information can be there. If some only data is there, you have to then again interpret it and you have to see there is no biasness, and in interpretation you have to scientifically interpret. So this is again one way of saying that this can be one of the source which can be integrated. But the final one is always doing a specific research to answer various questions, to solve the problems, to take up the decisions. Because when you take some decision, you have to justify to the higher authorities why you are taking this decision. Suppose a nurse administrator demands more staff. What is the justification? Just saying, I do not have enough staff to give care is not enough. She has to do maybe a work study, time motion study, and see what is the workload of the nurses. If in future hospital is planning to expand, how many nurses she needs? What type of care is provided to the patients there? So with this, she has to do a small research, give an evidence, follow the steps, and even in justification, she has to write what is the current situation and what are the challenges and how number of nurses, if increased, can bring in cost effectiveness and even the clinical care effectiveness. So you can see what is the importance of doing a research, and in clinical area, taking decision not only for the patient care but also administratively if any decision is to be taken which has to be backed by a evidence. So these were some of the sources of evidence. Now paradigms and the type of research. There are two main paradigms, positivist and constructivist. And the methods of research are quantitative, qualitative and mixed method. So let us see what is positivist paradigm. Positivist was rooted in the 19th century, especially by the Newton and Locke. They said fundamental assumption is that there is a reality and that can be studied and known. Assumption is that it is believed to be true without verification. That means reality can be studied by a researcher following certain procedure. So even the positivist says, example, you can see on the screen, if a person has a stroke, researcher believe in positivist paradigm assumes that there must be one or more factors that can be potentially identified. Within positivist paradigm, it is aimed to understand the underlying cause of the issue or the problem. Here, what the researcher will do? Identify the problem, review what is the current situation, review the reports, then try to find out with the history, with the examination, investigations and collecting data through questionnaire, tools, maybe interview, then find out the underlying cause. Then they will relate with the existing study and find out the evidence and say, yes, these are the causes. Positivist approach involves a systematic procedure with controls over the research questions to test the hunches, that is to test the hypothesis about the phenomena that have a relationship among them. There are various variables in the study and the relationship of the variable are being studied. Again, here the researcher will review, have a dependent and independent variable, confounding variable. This we will understand over the time about the terms, what they mean. Then they will collect the data, analyze. Then they will say what are the factors affecting, what is the relationship between these factors. But there is a controlled process. That means researcher will control the full process of the research by selecting the sample, allocating to the case and the control group. When they administer the tool, they will follow the guidelines. The biasness of the researcher will be taken care of when conducting a research. Now the constructivist paradigm. Constructivist paradigm was especially the philosopher Weber and the Kant, that they said fundamental assumption is that study is not a fixed reality. That means reality is not fixed. There will be a change in the reality depending upon the interpretation of the individual, interpretation of the family, interpretation of the communities. If there are multiple interpretation of the realities, people mind, then there is no process to find out the truth. What we have seen in the positivist paradigm, you can find out the truth because that is scientifically and the controlled experiments are being done, quasi-experiments are being done. But in the constructivist paradigm, Here we see what people interpret the reality situation, that is subjective. Interpretations are subjective to the people, what they believe, what are their experiences, and findings of the constructivist inquiry are product of interaction between the researcher and the participants. But in the positivist, the interaction of the researcher may be independent of the participants. Now let us see what is the difference in a concise way. In the positivist, reality exists, there is a real world. Researcher is independent of participant. Bias needs to be checked by objectivity. But in the constructivist paradigm, reality is subjective, constructed by the individuals. Researcher interact with the participant. Subjectivity and values are inevitable. Deductive process, the positivist. But constructive say it is inductive process. There is a hypothesis testing in positivist. Focus on objective and quantification. You can see, by seeing the difference, you can assess what are the methods used in the doing a research. Fixed pre-specified design is there. Measured quantitative information, statistical analysis and generalizations can be done in the positivist approach. But in the constructivist, hypothesis is generated. Focus is on subjectivity and non-quantification. Flexibility is there and designs emerge while collecting the data. There is a narrative information. Qualitative analysis and in-depth understanding is there. So there are two methods of research, quantitative and qualitative research. Quantitative research is a systematic way to define a problem, objectives, hypothesis, research approach, sampling, data collection, analysis and interpretation. Minimize the bias and maximize the validity. Quantitative data is analyzed statistically. Collect empirical evidence that can be generated. So what is the advantage? There is a fixed way, there is a flow, pathway is there. Randomization is done. Control of the intervention variable is done. Confounding variables can be taken up. The researcher and participants have no subjectivity will be there. Tools are being made in a way that you collect data, analyze statistically. The data can be, and level of significance can be fixed and you can analyze. Say you are accepting the hypothesis or null hypothesis is rejected or accepted. So you can see how from the positivist paradigm your quantitative method is being emerged. Now we see the qualitative one. Qualitative method. I think by the word you can understand. Understanding the human experiences as they live. Researcher collect and analyze qualitative, narrative, subjective information. Remember these words: qualitative, narrative and subjective information. Researcher emphasize on dynamic, holistic and individual aspect of individual life and capture them. Flexibility in data collection is there as procedures emerge during the study. You cannot fix up a data collection procedure in qualitative study. As you go on collecting your data, you can emerge with the process. What next? What next? What questions I have to ask? What will be my in-depth interview? It will be focus group discussion. It has to be a specific group. Or how much in-depth I have to go understanding the life experiences, perceptions, stories of the people. If you see, collection and analysis of the information is done simultaneously. Researcher gain insight and new questions emerge. What I have said, findings are grounded in real life experiences. Researchers integrate information to develop a theory. In quantitative, what they do? They test the theory. In the qualitative, they develop a theory. Rich, in-depth information is collected to clarify various dimensions of the phenomena. So, what is the purpose of nursing research? Already we have said, to answer the questions which are unsolved. There can be new questions because every patient is different. The care is different. You cannot say, I have made 2 months back one care plan for a patient. Same I can apply to another patient when they come with the same diagnosis. No. Maybe the problems may be similar, but care can be different. Then you have to solve certain problems. When you work in the hospital, various type of problems emerge. Maybe the old solutions you are not able to follow the old solutions. So find out a new solution. Especially nowadays, the problem of limited resources, limited human resource are also there. Always everyone says, I have very less staff, how to work? But you have to work within those limits. It is a man, money, material, whatever is there. Your department say provide cost-effective, efficient care. So you have to find out solutions. How I can provide best care to my patient within these limited resources. Suppose there is some issue, the problem is there with the staff. They are not coming in time or punctuality is a problem, whatever. You have to solve the problem. You cannot only punish them, then no one will work. They will get demotivated. Find out a solution, how you can motivate them. You have to understand their individual needs. So find out the solution to the problems. Provide explanations and justifications. If you have to demand something from the government, from your institution, from your governing bodies, you have to give an explanation which has to be supported by justification. That you can bring in through research. You can bring in through research already done, and when you do a research, you justify in a local context, this is my need. How it can improve the patient care, how it will be cost effective, and even how it will benefit my institution and community. So you can use various methods. It is exploratory, descriptive, correlational, it can be case studies. So it all depends what type of study you are doing. So one of the purpose of research is identification. Researcher conducting qualitative studies, a phenomena about which very little is known. Therefore, in-depth probing will help to answer the various questions, like experience of the women in breast cancer treatment. Because every woman will have different reaction when they are being diagnosed with the cancer. In the real life also, when you see, it depends upon the stage of the cancer. It depends on the family support. It depends upon the individual own mental health and emotional maturity, how they take up. If you say someone, you have a cancer, people have a reaction. No, I am not going to survive. I will die. That is the first reaction. So, you have to study this, then identification, explanation, predict what are the factors that may cause the reaction. What are the life experiences of that person? If the person has seen in their own family death after the cancer, maybe within few months, immediately reaction, I'm not going to survive for years. So, taking in-depth experiences when diagnosis was announced to the women about the cancer, what was the reaction? Next is description. Describing something, studies researcher count and classify like number of cases, when, where, how many. Quantitative description focus on prevalence, size and measurement of aspects. Like COVID cases. How many cases in Delhi? How many cases in India? How many cases in the world? Where? Which are the pockets? Initially where it started. So that is description. Then qualitative research focus on nature and dimensions of phenomena. Exploratory quantitative research begins with the phenomena to examine the nature and manner in which manifestation the causing factors. You explain what are the causing factors, what is the relationship, what is the association with demographic factors. Then qualitative research can be used to study the nature of phenomena in depth. So you can see on the same aspect you can do qualitative and quantitative study. If you want to go in depth to find out the underlying causes, perceptions, experiences, you have to do the qualitative study. Explaining some new phenomena, like when the COVID came, no one was knowing what is COVID, what is the causative organism, what is the natural history of disease. So thousands of research was done during that time to understand first what is COVID, what are the causes, where it emerged as a first case was there, then which you can say location, setting, age group which was affected, how it was spreading so fast, then what can be the preventive measures, what is the treatment. Over the time, they could understand virus which was causing it, what can be preventive measures, what are the treatment, vaccine was developed. So, explaining the natural history of disease, explaining the treatment, the research is done in various areas. If even previously some research is done to see what further can be done to strengthen the knowledge and skill in that area. Prediction and control. You are predicting something. Some phenomena can be predict or the control, like incidence of Down syndrome. If the age of the mother, women is more than 40 years of age, Down syndrome is very common. So you can predict, but you can control the situation. But again, every case is different. Importance of research. Every profession has to build up the knowledge, body of knowledge, because you cannot survive on the old knowledge. Advancement of technology, advancement of knowledge force the professionals to strengthen up the body of knowledge. Utilize these knowledge for the decision making. Validate what is already there and what can be in the future. Now, evidence-based research. That means what therapy or intervention can result in better outcomes? What test will assess the patient critical condition? What factors can cause the disease? And many other questions needs to be answered with the evidence. Evidence-based care will help to improve the study of nursing care, provide best of the care to the people, and to take the decisions which comes from the rigorous research. You can say this is the hierarchy of evidence. If you see, The weakest is expert opinion and case reports. Then case studies, cross-sectional studies, case control studies, cohort studies, randomized trials, and strongest is meta-analysis and systematic reviews. But it is not only the one factor. You have to take into consideration all the evidence to give the evidence or the justification. Steps of evidence-based care is scientific method, find out a problem, review, collect data with the tools, analyze, interpret, summarize, then find out a solution. Then integrating evidence into the practice, present your findings to the authorities and utilize the findings. That is the actually ultimate aim, how you utilize the findings of the research. Meaning of the terms, some important words. Variable is a characteristics which you study. It can be a nurse, it can be anything, smoking, interventional package, whatever you say, variables are there. Independent and dependent variable. Dependent variable are which go through changes in the quality or quantity, and independent variable is which bring in change. That you can see in this example. Respiratory complication is dependent variable and teaching intervention is a independent variable. There are certain confounding variables which are in between, which comes maybe from the experience of the patient or maybe from the some other literature which will affect your research findings. Operational definitions are the terms which you have defined what you mean in your research, not the definitions which are given in the dictionaries. Hypotheses are the hunches which you have to prove, which can be null hypothesis, which shows there is no difference between the independent and dependent variable. Again, this you have to prove statistically. And the last is assumption, that these researcher believe, assumes that whatever relationship they are studying are true. So in this way, today in this session, we have discussed about some of the basic concepts regarding the research, the paradigms, research approaches, research approach, evidence-based practice, what are the basic terms which are being used, what is the importance and purpose of the nursing research. This will help you to understand why you want to do the research, why it is important to justify your findings, how you can provide cost-effective care, and research will help you to justify your demands and analyze what type of care you are giving and what and where you need the improvement. Thank you.
Are you interested in television journalism or radio journalism or online journalism? Or do you want to learn with the flexibility of open learning? Or if you are a working professional, wants to enhance your knowledge and skill with certification in the field of electronic media, then School of Journalism and New Media Study, Ignou, offers PG Diploma in Electronic Media for you. This program includes audio and audio-visual program production for radio, television and online platforms. Here are some important details about the program. We have total 8 courses of 32 credits, 6 theory courses, 1 practical and 1 project. Eligibility: bachelor's degree in any subject. Minimum duration 1 year, maximum 3 years. Medium is English, but students can write their examinations, assignments practical and project in Hindi also. So if you are interested in television,
Welcome to the session on quantitative and qualitative research methods. It is important to understand what are the various designs you can follow when you are doing quantitative and qualitative studies. So in this session, you will learn about difference between quantitative and qualitative research, mixed method research, experimental and quasi-experimental designs, and qualitative studies. As you can see from the qualitative and quantitative methods term, you can understand what type of data quantitative studies or the method will generate. That means the quantitative will have numbers, units, prices, in the word of data, numbers. But in the qualitative, which are being expressed in the words, in the stories, perceptions, and the situations. So you can have the narratives by the people. Let us try to understand what is the difference between qualitative and quantitative research. First of all, the data, numbers, but in qualitative that will be words. Control and the comparison group. In quantitative, there will be a control and comparison group, but in qualitative, there will be no. Method, quantitative, experimental and quasi-experimental, but in qualitative, it will be narrative and inquiry. Then sampling, it will be random sample and the large sample will be there. But in qualitative, it will be purposive, convenient, or it will be small. Tools for data collection. In quantitative, you will have a structured, closed-ended questionnaires. You will have observation checklist and sometimes some semi-structured questions can be there. In qualitative, you will have in-depth interview guide, open questionnaire, focus group discussion guide. Then questions, type of question, how much, how many, because you have to collect the data. But in qualitative, you will say what, why, you have to ask the questions. Statistical methods, what you can use is percentage in quantitative, mean, regression, ANOVA, depends upon the study what you are doing. But in qualitative, it will be your narrative data analysis. There will be themes which you identify, then you will analyze them. Storage of the data in the quantitative, it will be stored in the form of numbers, but in qualitative, it will be your stories, it will be words, expressions and experience of the people. Again, the quantitative large data will be there. Provide broad overview and can be generalized because statistically you are going to prove it. There will be less bias. Data evidence can be used for decision making and can be generalized. But in qualitative, there will be specific data because they are subjective, interpretive data experiences of the people. Overview is specific to the context, but you cannot use it for the evidence to take decisions, but you can go in depth. So, qualitative and quantitative difference again in a different way. Quantitative is objective, qualitative is subjective. Quantitative is deductive reasoning and qualitative is inductive reasoning. Quantitative focus on concise and narrow, test theory, see cause and effect relationship, analyze the numbers statistically and generalize the findings. On the other hand, the qualitative focus on complex and broad issues. They develop theory. They give meaning to life experiences, meaning to the perception of the people. Analyze the experiences, narrative analysis is done and interpretation changes as the individual perception, thinking and experiences changes. You can say in the quantitative, if you see you want to study what is the impact of hand washing training on knowledge and the skill of the nurses, there will be a questionnaire, observation checklist, you will collect the data, have the scores, you will analyze statistically. On the other hand, this is just an example to show you the difference. What are the experiences primary gravida mother or the women in the labor room? You want to know, understand the experiences of the mother when they are in the labor room for the delivery. So there can be unstructured, semi-structured interview guide, or there can be you have to then go in depth to understand their perception and their experience. And mixed method research, it is a combination of qualitative and quantitative approach. It's not simple, but there are certain methods to combine quantitative and qualitative research. What you will do? You will do triangulation, sequencing and cross-analysis. This is very important to understand because when you use exclusively one method, you will leave out some of the information. When you do exclusively quantitative studies, statistically you are you are able to show level of significance and you will so statistically they are significant. But what about the realities? What is happening in the ground level? That you will bring in from the qualitative data. But on the other hand, if you do exclusively qualitative study, you cannot generalize the findings. You cannot take decisions based on that. But further, from the findings, you can conduct a quantitative study. So let us see that. What can be done? Triangulation. It is used to look at data from different point of view. For example, collecting data via different methods, talking to different groups of the people. That means you will collect data from the field, you will collect data from the records, you will go and speak to the authorities, to the administrators, to the stakeholders, to the patients. Then you will correlate all these things and do the triangulation, which will help you to justify the findings and to say, yes, what was my question? This I am able to find the answer. In triangulation, even what you can do is, triangulation is designed for the improving the quality of information. You can improve the quality of information because you are analyzing from different sources. It becomes more reliable. Compare the information generalized through quantitative and qualitative method. Statistical data may show that there is a dropout in the school, in the teenager girl. But qualitative information may focus on the, after focus group discussion, girls really, you may say they reveals that the school environment needs to be improved, but you are not able to show this school environment improvement through quantitative data. From where it will come? It will come from the qualitative data, because that's why some of the research are not able to answer all the questions or able to find out solution to the problems. Now there is sequencing. Sequencing means first you will do a quantitative study, then you will do a qualitative study, or you will first do a qualitative study, then you will do a quantitative study. Using the result of qualitative study to develop theories or hypotheses, then they can be examined through quantitative methods. Or quantitative findings from a large population are collected and then examined particularly for some special context in one area. In-depth interview and focus group discussions are being done. So you can see sequencing means doing one type of study, then coming to the next type of study, using the finding of a survey to help to identify a sample of cases to follow up in greater depth using qualitative methods. So you can say first is triangulation, then there is a sequencing. Third is cross-analysis. It is combining two methods for cross-analysis. Quantitative data is often analyzed qualitatively in order to validate or draw out the meanings. Analyzing tables, chart and graphs, you can say experiences, quantitative data, discussing the implications. That means you will combine your qualitative and quantitative data to find out the meanings, what is the in-depth information you are able to collect, then you will give the implications and for future recommendations. Translate qualitative data into quantitative formats or quantitative into qualitative. This approach particularly useful when you are doing monitoring and evaluation, the complex area of work such as governance, empowerment, capacity development of the building, which will help you to come out to the solutions. So, quantitative research is experimental and non-experimental design. I think most of you has gone through these studies, but let us see some of the designs to review our knowledge. The first design, if you see, is very common one which is being used is symbols. Let us understand. Symbol X indicate exposure of a group to experimental variable and effect of which will be measured. That means this is something you are going to do. Symbol O, that means process of observation or measurement. Symbol R indicate random assignment to identify the treatment group. This is very specific XOR for the experimental design. The most important design, pre-test, post-test control group design. You can see here how it is being indicated. There is a R, O and X. All the three randomization is being done for sampling of the control and the case group. Statistical test of significance is done, but that does not prove comparability and comparison groups or the difference found in the groups. So you have to do the t-test. This is just an example I am showing. It depends upon the study what statistically you will do. So next design you will see Solomon 4-group design. This is very important design. There is no statistical method in which you can use specifically. It depends upon the study and the data and the objectives of your study, but the findings, the generalizations can be done through this group. This is a very strong group in the experimental design. The third is post-test only control group design. You can see here how it is being designed is highlighted. Here the t-test is optional and covariance analysis can be done. Again, these are just examples. Everything depends upon your study objectives, hypothesis and what you want to study. Quasi-experimental designs. Mostly nursing studies students are doing quasi-experimental designs. Time series experiment, periodic measurements on the group is being done and the changes are being noted. Results are indicated by discontinuing in the measurements are also recorded. Here you see R is missing. There is an observation, there is a treatment, but randomization is not done. So that is a major difference between experimental and your quasi-experimental group. Next design, if you see, that is your equivalent time sample design. It provides baseline against which the comparison can be done on the effect of experimental variable. In group 1, experimental variable is present, but in group 2, it is absent. Here, test of significance is done. Non-equivalent control group design. You can see experimental and control group both are given pre and the post test, but control and experimental group do not have the pre-experimental sampling equivalence. So it depends what type of study you are doing, what design you will follow, but you have to be very careful when you select your design of your study. Qualitative research. Researchers are interested to understand the meaning of the people, what they construct. What as a researcher you are constructing, it has a different meaning. But what people think, that is how people make sense to their world and experiences, that is very important to understand. Then only you will be able to find solution to the problems. Your qualitative research use methods such as participant information or case studies, which will have narratives, descriptions, case studies. Your qualitative research is an inductive, flexible in nature. These are qualitative, they collect qualitative data and analyze. Participant observation is for collecting data on naturally occurring behaviors. Sometimes you must have heard where many researchers go and live with their families. Go and live in that area for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years to understand people. What is their culture, how they live, what they eat, what they think, what are their traditions, what are their values. So participatory observation is there in this. They do in-depth interviews, not only with the families but also with the community people. They go in-depth personal history, perspectives, experiences, particularly on the sensitive issues. Even with the patients who have AIDS, who have cancers, who have tuberculosis, what are their experiences, what they feel, to find out solution to their problem. Because confirmation, you can say the treatment when they leave, why they are leaving the treatment, what are the reasons. Statistically you can say, but underlying factors, economic factors, social factors, psychological factors, what are those? What is their family support? What are their family relationships? How they will find out through qualitative studies. If you see, focus group discussion is done when there is some issue which is common. The researcher goes to the community with the small group. They have a focus group guide. Then they do focus group discussion to find out in depth what are their concerns, what are the cultures, and what they feel, and what are the solutions, even what they feel, they can be find out. Approaches to qualitative research, phenomenology, ethnography, grounded theory methods, case studies, and narrative analysis. There are many others, but these are the most important one. Phenomenology. It is an approach to explore and understand people's everyday life experiences. Life experiences give meaning to each person's perception of a particular phenomena. For example, explore experiences and reflection of people affected by COVID. What are the experiences of people who were affected by the COVID? What were the experiences of families who have gone to the hospital but not able to get treatment? What were the experience of the people when they have to live in isolation? So everyone had a different experience. On the other hand, what were the experiences even of the health personnel who have given care to the patients? So phenomenology brings in the life experiences of the people. Ethnography, as the word says, here it is a qualitative inquiry about some description, you can say, or interpretation of culture, cultural behavior. What I was telling you, people go and live with the community, try to understand them. It involves extensive field work. They infer the culture, actions, perception of the people, and they write what people say, not what I am able to understand, but what people say. They explore the meaning to the context from the people. Then grounded theory method begins the focus with the research problem. Then they find out a process to solve that, how this problem emerged, collect data, and during this study they process emerge and they go on collecting the data analysis, data collection, and even the sampling occurs simultaneously. Like you want to understand the process of trying to quit smoking. When they started, why they want to quit, what are the challenges, what are the problems they have faced. So simultaneously questions also emerge, data will be collected, and sampling will be done even of the family, friends, and many other. Now the case study. I think this is very common. All of you are doing a case study of a patient when you are working in a hospital or when you were a student. You have in-depth investigated a single patient or a family or a community. An in-depth interview has been taken, and then you go in depth about the disease of a patient, family history, personal history, and then you collect data, analyze and find out what support or the treatment can be given, like in-depth case study of the parents making decision for life support for a child in ICU. Then it is a narrative analysis. Very important one. Now many people are doing this. It focuses on stories as object of inquiry. It tries to understand how individual makes sense to their life. Narrative analysis on the birth traumas. Narrative analysis of the people during disasters. How they have undergone that situation, how they have handled that situation. What are their experiences? I think this session has able to make you understand what is the difference between qualitative and the quantitative studies. What are the methodologies you can use? What are the various designs of the experimental, quasi-experimental studies? Again, what are the statistical methods you can use? Again, it depends upon the objectives and the questions. What are the qualitative studies? And how you can integrate the mixed method. Mixed methods, that is triangulation, sequencing, cross-analysis. So something, either all one of them, or you have to mix triangulation and the sequencing, something you have to do for the mixed method study. So I hope this will help you to understand how you can design your study, how you can plan a study which will bring in qualitative and the quantitative data, which will support your decision making, and you will get a in-depth understanding of the situation. Thank you so much.
graduate in any discipline. The school also offers various socially relevant and need-based PG diploma programs like PG Diploma in Sustainability Science, PG Diploma in Environment and Occupational Health, PG Diploma in Folklore and Culture Studies, and PG Diploma in Migration and Diaspora Studies. The school also offers PG Certificate in Climate Change and Avshist Prabandhan mein Praman Patra. The school also offers 2 doctoral programs, PhD in Environmental Science and PhD in Interdisciplinary and Transdisciplinary Studies. The school offers various innovative technologies and multimedia for providing a very excellent student support system. The study material is of high quality. The learner support is provided through Gyan Darshan, Gyan Vani.
Hello learners, welcome to this session on the program Certificate in Fashion Design, that is CFD. I, Dr. Divya Ojha, Academic Associate from School of Vocational Education and Training, welcomes you all to this session. For the discussion today we have with us Program Coordinator Professor A.K. Gaba. I welcome you, sir. So learners, today's topic of discussion is online economy and e-marketing, which is one of the unit of your program Certificate in Fashion Design, that we will discuss in this session in detail all the content of this particular unit, the online economy and e-marketing. So before starting the topic, discussion on the topic online economy and e-marketing, let me brief about the course structure of this particular program, Certificate in Fashion Design. So this is as for the students who has already enrolled and the viewers who are listening us today, they might be have query what all topics or what all courses are there in this particular program, Certificate in Fashion Design. So this particular program, Certificate in Fashion Design, that is coded as CFDE, it is a 6-month certificate program which is of total 16 credit, and this particular course comprises of 4 courses. That course 1 is about fundamentals of fashion design, course 2 is about basics of pattern making and sewing, course 3 is about introduction to fashion industry, and course 4 is communication and entrepreneurship, which the topic on the online economy and e-marketing is part of that particular course for communication and entrepreneurship. So let me brief about the course structure of this particular 4th course, that is communication and entrepreneurship. The course code is BFD074 and the title of the course is Communication and Entrepreneurship. So there are 3 blocks in this particular course that you have to study. Block 1 is social skills in business communication. Block 2 is about basics of fashion communication, and block 3 is about entrepreneurship. So let me discuss in detail the all units that are included in especially block 3, that is unit 8. You will be studying about developing entrepreneurial qualities, basic idea generation, becoming an entrepreneur. Unit 11 is about setting up small business enterprise. Unit 12 is steps in managing an enterprise. Unit 13 is the online economy and e-marketing, and Unit 14 is careers in fashion. So all these units you have to study in this particular block 3, Entrepreneurship, in which the unit 13 we are going to discuss today in detail, the online economy and e-marketing. So now I request sir to please apprise our learners what online economy is, what is e-marketing, and how it is related to the fashion industry. So
Thank
please.
you, Dr. Divya. You have explained the all brief course structures and program structures. I also welcome as a Professor Gaba, program coordinator of this particular program. But you have already explained the various component of the course structure for the students and viewers, those who are watching this program and may be interested for registration, as well as those who have already registered. For them, this online economy and e-marketing we are discussing, this is a topic for the discussion in the context of our fashion products, number one. And second, questions will be there in a viewer's mind, ki why this course and our particular, this topic has been given for the discussion today, because we are not having this commerce or economics background. For those learners, let me explain, because this fashion design program is minimum eligibility is 10+2 for any stream of learners, maybe arts, commerce, science, engineering. But some of you, like commerce and economics learners, might be having basic knowledge of our online economy, or our students like home science, textile, or other than disciplines. There is multidisciplinary this program courses are there. For them, this topic has been considered for our this course structure. Now, issue is ki what is online economy? As a economics or commerce student, you might be having basic knowledge, or even management students, even our engineering students, other minor courses or major courses students are also studying these days, if they have selected this, chosen this course for their particular program. Now, for them, this may be additional knowledge, but we are going to explain the basic conceptual framework regarding online economy and e-marketing in the context of fashion products. Let me explain first. Dr. Divya Ojha already explained the course structure and apprise you the detail of the particular program what we are discussing here. What we expected from this particular discussions. In this discussion, as a learner, you will be able to understand and nature the concept of online economy and e-marketing if you are not having the economic management or BBA or any course program background, and you register for this particular program as a fashion designer, as like of enhancing the skills or awareness, or you want additional knowledge in your area. This is our expectations. 2, you will be able to understand the role of online economy, e-marketing in the context of fashion industry. Just I appreciated and discuss with that, and study the impact of e-marketing in the modern fashion businesses. And you might be aware already, because as a customer, and or you see your mobile, and you see your laptop or other platforms where you can see latest fashion products. You are very much aware about this concept of online marketing and all that. But as a learners, when you will be having this coursework, you will be able to understand the basic knowledge and understanding on the conceptual framework of online economy and e-marketing. Number 1. Number 2, we have considered this unit under the block entrepreneurship. Tomorrow, if you want to start after passing this course from our School of Vocational Education and Training, Ignou, you want to start your own startups, and side by side you would like to launch this program or your products basically through online platforms. You should have a basic knowledge of online economy and customer purchasing power and other details. So that's why we have taken this unit, our industry expert academia interactions. We designed this particular course, and that's why we have explained the basic concept of online economy. Now you are very much aware, कुछ students या viewers इस program को देख रहे हैं, उनके काफ़ी questions mind में होंगे. We expect you ask that questions through telephone numbers which are displaying on your screen. Number 1. Number 2, if you are already having this basic knowledge of our economy or our commerce background, then you should have to be having additional knowledge for these discussions. Some of the later material content we have given our self-learning material, but for discussions of this presentation, we have taken the latest development of Indian online economy in general and across the globe in particular. So online economy as a journal, when you go, is economy where big businesses over the internet economy. There are different concepts explained. Online economy, digital economy, and there is also e-commerce, lot of terminology being used across the globe. And this course structure, basically we are taken only one unit. If you see the course structure of other BCom program or BA programs or honors programs or our MBA programs, there is a separate course online economy. But here digital economy or online economy, because of giving awareness to our fashion design learners, those who want to start up their own startups. That's why we explain the basic concept of online economy. It affects almost all sectors of the economy, such as communications, finance, retail, trade, education, health, government, including textile sector, what we are discussing here today. So it is known as e-commerce because I said a lot of terminology being used across the globe. Sometimes online economy, internet economy, e-commerce, then digital economy. So e-commerce is also relevant to get for the businesses that launch through the internet to sell their goods and services, as like we are discussing here in fashion products. Because internet economy is selling the products of services, not only the fashion products. If you see on your mobile or your apps, lot of internet platforms are selling in tourism sector, health sectors, education sector as well. So we focus our discussion on the digital economy, that is internet economy, new economy or economy point of view. So there are three types of e-commerce businesses model in India. I am discussing here our Indian context, that is number one, inventory based, market based and hybrid model. And this type of economy model is going on in the present our e-businesses purpose. But if we go through details for discussions of the advantages concerned, that are the advantage which we are showing here. First is lower cost. If you want to start up their own our businesses of fashion garments in your areas, you require a lot of land and you also require a lot of resources. And in big market, already market established, there you should have knowledge of your product, customer purchasing power. If you invest that money in that market, you require a lot of money, wealth and loan, whatever if you have, you can afford. But for that purpose as well, you are not able to start your businesses because you are new in the market, you are new venture in the market. So what to do? So you started, let me go for my product to be sold on internet platform. So that's why this, how much cost you required, there is a lot of inventory management. If you want to quote details, there is the average cost, total cost, marginal cost and so many costs involved. You have to make your own inventories and you see and comparison. You are all, you want to go the face-to-face selling your product as like market, shops or malls, or you want to go through online platform. As I said, in India, hybrid model is being adopted in fashion product. There are a lot of garments, a lot of big companies. They are selling their fashion products through their malls as well as shops, as well as retail marketing, and also through internet platform as well. So sometimes we say blended approaches, sometimes hybrid approaches. This is the first most important advantage having this online or economy and e-commerce platform. Two is expanded business opportunities, because when you open the shop or mall, only nearby customer will come to buy your products and services. And if you want to go large number of your customers, then this online platform will help you. So you see, you are sitting here at in rural area or any district level or sub-district level areas, and you are buying a product, international brand at your doorstep through different platform. We will discuss in detail. So as a investor, when you are going to start your businesses, so you will not sell only product in Delhi or metro areas. I can reach the latest person who is sitting remote area and he is having mobile access, internet access, and he can see the product what we are selling through online platform. Now second question which mostly people ask, so rural area when we go for, it took 7 days, 8 days delivery to reach us. But when you see the delivery platform, if you go to buy the product in the urban area or malls, you invest money, transportation, time. Here you are getting the things at your doorstep, whether 2 days, 3 days, but you are saving a lot of money and time. You don't have time. But in advanced countries, India, China, emerging economy, there this platform is emerging very fast. There is a big business opportunities are available. We will discuss in detail. Third is the advantage of this online platform is it is giving the job opportunities, creating new jobs, different platforms. If you see, when you are open your retail at your areas, there you require the shopkeepers, retailers and all that. But here you require, industry require new technical expertise, e-marketing expert, technical experts, sales experts, and also the person who is having some innovation ideas. So that's why this internet platform or online economy has a lot of job opportunities and creating the market economy to grow, not only in fashion products, in other sector as well, what I explained. Now the last point is there. If you see, we are discussing the our business opportunity through online economic platforms, improving the customer services. When you are having this our online app and you buy the TV or you buy this garment products, you didn't like it, and our youth are selecting the on the faces what they see the images and sizes, and they buying the product. After when they receive that product, they try and they found it is not suitable, so you can send back to them. So sitting at home one place, the advantage is that the company is giving services to your doorstep. Yes. And that is why it is improving public services. If you buy that product in a remote or shops or malls, then there is a possibility every time you go, the shop or mall or retail shops is far away from your residence. It required 7 days, 8 days, or you are, if on the way you can, luckily on the way you are getting the market, you can go. But if you are not having this market is far away, then you require a lot of replacement. Then they will say you come 12 o'clock, you come evening, so it's a lot of things. But here in online platform, company is giving most improvement services to our customer where they can buy the fashion products. Then transparency is there. What is transparency? Because whatever you buying, receipt online, you will get it, bill available, and GST, what government tax paid, everything you will be having on hand. And then if you exchange, if you want to get services, it will be repaired, that is also available, because online receipt you received, online product you received, it will helping to also for this transparency, for the perspective of the investor point of view, for the perspective of customer perspective as well, and third, the government and regulating body perspective as well, because they are collecting taxes directly from the sale. So increased profit is the most important point. When you open your outlet in a small area where customers are limited in number, you will be able to cater the needs of local customer. You can't cater the needs of the customer which are scattered different regions. So this online platform has a lot of scope where you can sell the product through different platforms and different apps. You can design your own apps or online platforms where you can get the maximum profit. These are the benefit of our online economy and commerce.
Yes, sir, you have nicely explained the concept of online economy and the benefits and the advantages of online economy. So the next part of our topic is e-marketing. So what is e-marketing and how it is different from online economy?
Yeah, very good questions, because we are discussing online economy and how to e-marketing.
Yes.
Our viewers and learners are very much aware about this e-marketing.
Yes.
But before that, let me see the future of our online economy, then e-marketing.
Yes.
That is, if you see, the rise of online in India is increasing day by day. At present, if you see, 700 million people are, including 300 million digital payments users are there. This statistics is very much needed if somebody want to start their own businesses in fashion products. 700 million people are having this accessibility where we can start easily business.
Yes.
220 million, this latest statistics as in today, which I am giving, online shoppers in India. So this is very encouraging for our own viewers and learners. If you want to start their own business online platform, accessibility is not an issue. We have 770 crores people are having the accessibility of that online internet users where you can reach and shoppers. And then there's a lot of B2B business and our e-commerce business and transactions. Now the question is what is e-marketing?
Yes.
Because that future is bright for all our these online platforms. So for them, our viewers must know. We have explained each basic conceptual framework in our unit as well. In addition to that, what is e-market is there a set of tools and methodologies used for advertisement, products and services through internet. Easily you can design a lot of apps, internet platforms. You design your product, and we have our own experiences. Our own students have designed some products and they upload it online. And then e-marketing, through e-marketing they are circulating through their own groups, and not only include marketing on the internet but also includes marketing through emails, using social media and WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Facebook, a lot of social network platforms they are reaching. So it is a very easy and very fast supply chain of e-marketing, which also having benefited, and it is known digital marketing as well.
Yes.
And it is practice of using digital channels to promote products, services or brands to a target audience. It investigates various online platforms and techniques to reach potential customer, build relationship and drive sales. These are the basic characteristics of e-marketing, and I'm sure the learners and our students, our study materials, we have given the basic illustrations, and also we have provided the basic product, how the case studies of e-marketing are going on. Here I would like to see the basic key aspects of e-marketing. When you are going through the study materials, you will find the basic characteristic and conceptual framework, but not find the key aspects of e-marketing which we designed here. It is a lot of search engine platform like Google, Yahoo, or even artificial intelligence coming up, or ChatGPT coming up, where you can also start your businesses, that platforms. And that is, technology is moving very fast, and you think a little bit and you will be able to design yourself that idea, which we experimented also, and our learners also experimented, and they designed their own products and with the help of artificial intelligence. And also in my own experiences, I would try to see some conceptual framework of some shirts pattern designing. So manual I was doing, so I started, this is not my subject, I took help, my colleague who is sitting here, and her course pattern making. Through doing that activity, I did this, and I'm able to see YouTube video and able to succeed. I thought, let me try this idea to the industry. What a industry reaction. Before going to industry reactions, 4 or 5 my colleagues and those who are expert in fashion design, I mail them, give your comments. He said, wow, we can take it this our own illustrations in our fashion communication cell and take them their views. I said it will be copyright of Ignou, SOVET, because we are here to design this course, and we able to succeed. But first you give comments before industry. Academy appreciated, then industry said ki there is a need for the customer taste liking. You throw it this YouTube and see how many people are liking these products, and that products your design will be demanded. This is the best example I have given. Social media marketing and content marketing. Also, we can go for e-marketing, what content we are giving, and email marketing. Through email, you might be receiving. But in our day-to-day life, every mall retailer or fashion retailer or products, I collected some data whenever I have time to visit some malls. So I see what are the latest brands are coming. Being a student of fashion design, I collected some information. I compiled. This has been not reflected our in-course material. Whenever we design these course materials or even higher studies, then we will include these case studies as well. So pay per click advertising, new concept which I researched. And latest, I think today morning I was going through some literature. I found this concept. Pay click. If you want to see the details in European country, they are using this concept. Click and then you will be able to see the designing. You have to pay for that. So different model of e-marketing is there, and influencer market. because we are influencing the market in this two concept is very rare use, but in India, but slowly future perspective, has been coming up to reach the unreached customer when we are discussing this e-marketing concept is concerned, and affiliated marketing, because if our industry has some wholesale market and retailers, and they also have a sub-branded network, and then they are affiliated district level, sub-block level. They are selling this through network retailing through posters, and then e-marketing platform collecting the customer ID or mobile number. They are sending through WhatsApp, or they are using Facebook or Twitters, and they are sharing their all fashion products, let us sell, or they are selling the product by giving advantage and benefit to the customer, and in third of loyalty of the customer. So many models available, which as a viewers and learners, we are also a customer when we go market to buy the products and services. And then most important point of these key aspects of marketing is sustainability and ethical marketing. That is very important, and that is happening in fashion products is very much. We have explained with illustrations. Some of the things what we discussed here is not available in our self-learning materials, but we have added additional knowledge in addition what we have in self-learning materials. If any students want further knowledge, they can see our recorded lecture will be available on YouTube. And we are coming to advantage of now e-marketing, what your questions asked. Reduce marketing cost, as like our earlier what we discussed in online economy, and it helps to reach the right consumer.
Yes.
That is because you are producing or you are designing the product of our adult group, or you are selling this through email to children, it is not workable. So right consumer is very important database when you are marketing through e-market platform. Helps the monitoring the market process. You immediately see across your regions what is our customer want, what products, what is the per capita income of that our customers, and social. But no customer would like to give you this personal information. But as our producers or you are if you want to start your entrepreneurship, you have to target the customer, those who are having the paying capacity and also taste in market. So we have taken all this e-marketing advertising concept, and it also increase sales of the product and increase profit as like that we have included. Now coming to types of e-commerce or e-marketing is business to business, and business to consumer, and consumer to consumer, and consumer to business. These are types of e-commerce and e-marketing. And in addition to there is a law related to commerce which we explain in our unit, contract law or copyright law, trademark, what I discussed. There is my copyright,
Yes.
copyright will be there, and tort law. These are the basic concept which we have covered in this unit. And quickly, there is also our 2020 Legislation Details Act, ICT Act is saying what type of legal electronic document required for this, and also explain the present scenario is one of the platform where fashion industry is focusing for its development. That is our recommendations. If you have an idea, our learners after getting certificate from School of Vocational Education Training, they can start their businesses and outlets, not only your own face-to-face hybrid mode as like online platform. And now these are the across the globe or in India, a lot of platform where you can see e-marketing and online fashion products going on. And lastly, you can see yourself if you have mobile and tab, you can see the basic this outlet, fashion outlet, and things are available. You select the design and you can choose. I hope you enjoyed these sessions. If further inquiry, Dr. Divya,
Yes, thank you, sir, for explaining the topic so well. And if you have any further query, you can write us mail on cfde@ignou.ac.in, and we will be happy to answer all your queries. Thank you.
We wear clothes on a daily basis. But have we ever wondered Where do our clothes come from? Who makes our clothing? And who are the people and the process responsible for the whole manufacturing of our clothing? If you want to know more about this, Indira Gandhi National Open University from the School of Continuing Education has launched a program which is Certificate in Apparel Merchandising. There are many benefits after doing this program. You can become a designer in various fields. It can be fashion designer, apparel designer, costume designer, or even a textile designer. One can also work as a fashion consultant. Research and development is another field which one can take up after doing this certificate course. Going into academics is another perk after doing this program. Getting into fashion houses or fashion studios as an intern is also a very good option post doing the certificate in apparel merchandising. The basic eligibility of the program is 10+2. The duration of the program is 6 months to 2 years. The program is also available for both the admission cycles, which is July and January. The exams are conducted twice a year, in June and December. So what are you waiting for? Join this program and get an enriching knowledge in the field of apparel merchandising. And to do so, you can log on to the official website of the university, www.ignou.ac.in.
Good evening, dear learners. I am Dr. Shashank Srivastava from the School of Engineering and Technology, Ignou. So today I am going to present before you a topic that is known as job safety analysis, and this forms a part of your course in PG certificate in industrial safety program, which is being run by the School of Engineering and Technology. So what are the actually objectives of this particular unit which we are going to discuss today? First of all, we have to understand the need of job safety analysis and the procedures involved in it. Then we need to know about the need of safeguarding and the various methods of providing safeguard. Then we have to carry out the job safety analysis and safeguarding of a particular shop floor. And what is the need actually? The need is that we want to have a safe environment for the shop floor worker. That means that to provide a risk-free environment both to the personal as well as our machines which we are using in the workshop or the shop floor. So we want to give such an environment to our personnel as well as to the machines. And it has been noticed that lack of appropriate training of the employees in proper job procedure results in job-related mishaps, injuries and fatalities that occur every day in the shop floor or any kind of workshop or in the workplace. There are various incidents that are being reported in the industry about certain workers getting injured or the machine failure, things like that. So we have to take care of these things. So what are the steps in job safety analysis? First of all, we have to establish proper job procedures. What are the various steps in doing a certain job? Then we have to train all the employees in doing their work in a proper manner, which is much safer and more efficient. And these kind of methods have to be put in place to prevent workplace injuries. And we have to very carefully and meticulously study and record each step of the job in order to provide a safe environment to the personnel working there, and to avoid any kind of mishap to the machine as well. So we have to identify the existing or the potential job hazards, which are related both to safety as well as health. And what are the hazards? Hazards are actually the problems or the obstacles that one faces while working in the workshop or the shop floor. So there can be various types of hazards. So we have to first of all identify these kind of hazards. What are already existing or what may be a potential, maybe it may come in future. Okay, so both kinds of hazards we have to identify. Then we have to reduce or eliminate these kind of hazards, because as I said, hazard is an obstacle to the personal working there. So we have to remove these kind of hazards, we have to eliminate them. And then we have to improve the job methods that can reduce what costs. If we improve our methods, then obviously the cost will also come down, and that will result in lesser employee absenteeism and better workers' compensation as well, and can often lead to increased productivity. So we will get much better productivity. And the employees will also not avoid their work, because they will know that they are working at a much safe place, okay, and they don't have any problems, and they will not be afraid of working on the machines because of the safety that has been provided by removing the hazards. So now we discuss the sequential steps in completion of a job. So first of all, what does the worker or the shop floor person does? He selects the proper kind of tool, because in any kind of manufacturing workshop or industry, we need certain kinds of tools to work upon the job as well as on the machine. So first of all, he will select a proper tool. Then he will employ that tool on the job. So the person there, he should also know the right method of employing the tool. Maybe he has to stand in a proper manner, or he may apply the tool at a certain angle to the job. So there are various things which come into play in this particular point. Then further on, one thing is a must for all kind of people working there, that they have to use proper personal protective equipment. And the short form for that is PPEs. So in the industry we call it as PPEs, that personal protective equipment is a must for all the personnel working in the shop floor or the workshop. Then there will be the job selection for safety analysis. So there are various kinds of job that require safety analysis. And what are the various kinds of jobs? Now I am discussing here. First one is the one-time job, meaning it will be done for one time only, no repetition of that job. It has to be done for once only. Then the second type is the rare type, meaning it can occur again and again, but it's very rare that it will happen for the second time. So that is called a rare kind of job. Then the third one is a special kind of job, meaning some special machinery or some special tool is needed to work. Okay, so that will be called a special type of job. And the fourth one, we all of us may be knowing, that is the routine type of job that is going to take place every day. So that comes on the priority list as number 4. And we have also to see the ambient work condition, because it is one of the most important parameters while conducting job safety analysis, meaning what are the kind of surroundings where the personnel is working. So the priority, then how we decide the priority for job safety analysis? First of all, we take up those jobs that have maximum number of disabling and life-threatening injuries and illnesses. So this will be on the topmost place, okay, in our priority list, because this is causing most difficulty to the personnel that is working there as well as to the management, because it is causing disabling and life-threatening injuries to the people working. So in the priority list it has to be on the number 1, okay. And then the second one will be where accidents or mishaps, the jobs where accidents or mishaps were just prevented, meaning it was just going to happen and somehow somebody intervened or some intervention was there and they somehow prevented that accident from taking place. So these type of jobs will be on the second number in the priority list. Then the third one is the jobs with process and procedure changes. So there may be certain jobs where certain processes are being used, but now these processes suppose are outdated or are not required, then they will have to be replaced by new processes and the procedure will change. So these type of jobs come at number 3 on the priority list. And finally, job safety analysis needs to be conducted and made available to employees for all the jobs in the workplace. So the first 3 were there, and then after that all the jobs will be taken up. And for doing this actually job safety analysis, we need to involve all the employees. That is very, very important, because we have to take them into confidence. And they should not be afraid that certain evaluation is being done or some other things are being done. We have to assure them that only job safety analysis is being done and there is no danger to their job or things like that. Okay, so taking the employee into confidence before job safety analysis is of prime importance. An employee should not feel that his job is being evaluated and he should not be intimidated. That's what I told you just now, that the person should not feel scared that his job is being evaluated and certain points will be given or his promotion will be affected or things like that, okay, or his job is going to be affected. So we have to assure them that it is not their evaluation, but it is a process for job safety analysis. Instead, word should be spread that the job itself is being evaluated. That's what I told just now, that we have to take them into confidence and tell them that it is the job which is being evaluated and it is not the person who is doing the job who is being evaluated. And the very important thing is that views of the workers who have earlier performed the same job is indispensable, meaning we have to take the views of these people because they have done the job earlier and they have gained knowledge about the potential hazards and the recommended solutions as well for removing these hazards. So what will be the general inquiries on the condition of a job? So I have listed down some of these and I am just going to present before you. So first is that question that arises is that are there any materials lying loose on the shop floor? Sometimes certain materials just fall apart and nobody cares and it is just lying there. So it may be a hazard for a person working there and it should be removed immediately into the dustbin. Then the next question that arises is that is the lighting and ventilation adequate? Because when you are working in the shop floor or the workshop, then proper lighting should be there. Then only the person will be able to see the job and work on it. And ventilation obvious because he should not feel suffocated in that place. And the third question that comes up is that is there physical, biological, chemical or radiation hazard? So any kind of thing, any kind of these things, physical, biological, chemical or radiation hazard. And what kind of noise pollution is there, because noise pollution can affect the work of the person. He may get disturbed. And the further question is that is the operator well acquainted with the job procedures and their implementation? So the operator should be knowing about the steps in which that particular job has to be performed, and he should knowing the procedures about that beforehand. Okay, he should be well trained, and he should also know how to implement these things. So further questions are there, like are the fire and emergency exits properly marked, because it is very important. If some problem occurs, then he should immediately know where is that particular exit door or where is the fire door, from here he can get out of that place. Okay, so the signs should be there properly marked. And next question, are the controls on rotary machinery properly working? Very important, because rotary machinery can really harm the person that is working there. Then, are the brakes, horns and steering for moving vehicles properly checked? Because if the brakes are not working properly, the vehicle can move in any direction, and it can cause damage to anything or any personnel working there. And finally, we see that the question is that, are there employees with previous health problems on the job? So because this thing is needed, because we have to know if the operator who was working there has any previous health issue, because if it's a dangerous kind of job, we can remove such a person from there because he's already having health issue, and we can employ someone who is in a better health condition. So after seeing these kind of inquiries or questions regarding the jobs, we move on to the job steps analysis, how we are going to do that. So first of all, divide the job that has to be done into small parts or small job tasks, okay, that has to be broken down, or we can say into steps, okay. So this is the first thing. Then the very first part is to enlist each and every step of the job in the sequence that they occur. Then sequencing is very important. We decide the steps, and further after that we decide the sequence in which these steps have to be performed, and we have to at the same time see how the employee is working on that particular job. We have to watch. And one should ensure to record enough information to describe each job action. So we are doing the job step analysis, so recording has also to be done. So we can keep a record of all the procedures or the processes in the particular job that is taking place. But one need not make the breakdown too exhaustive. We need not make that too exhaustive. Too many points have not to be noted. Important points have to be noted, and we have to consult the employee for the steps in job. We always have to take him in confidence. He should not be scared or intimidated by the job safety analysis. Further, we have to do a very important step, that is the hazard identification. We have to know what are the obstacles that are coming while performing that particular type of job. So the first point is that employee doesn't have proper personal protective equipment, that is PPE. So if this thing is there, then the job should not be done. The very first and foremost thing should be the safety, and one has to ensure that the person who is going to perform the job has proper personal protective equipment. That then only he can go to the shop floor and perform the job. This is the very first step. Then and if it is not there, then that means that the very basic thing is not there, and it's a big hazard, okay. Then work positions, machinery, pits or holes, and hazardous operations, all these also come into hazards. So what kind of position he is getting into while performing the job, that person. Then the machinery itself can be a hazard, if it's a rotary type of machinery, or it's doing some cutting type of job. So it's a big hazard, and one has to be careful while working on these type of machines. Then pits and holes are there in the workshop or in the shop floor, then that can also be a hazard. So that's why these things are mentioned here. Then workers wearing clothing or jewelry or with long hair can also be hazard, because this hair can get stuck somewhere in the machinery, or the long clothing can get stuck, and then the moving machinery can pull yourself inside the machinery. So it's a very dangerous situation. Then there are certain fixed objects like sharp edges. Suppose a table is there which has a sharp edge, then it can also cause harm to the person working there. And the movement of worker, even the movement of the worker can be a hazard depending upon the workflow. And worker can at any time may be in off balance position also. So dangerous position of the working worker with respect to the machine is a big hazard, and possibility of worker getting caught in between moving parts, like I told you earlier. So it is also there, it's a hazard, and worker may be required to make movements that could lead to or cause hand or foot injuries or restrain from lifting the hazards of repetitive motions. Worker may be struck by an object or lean against or strike a machine part of the object. Then there is a probability of worker falling from one level to another. Then there is chance of injury to workers from lifting or pulling objects or from carrying heavy objects. Then there are certain environmental hazards like the dust, chemicals, radiations, as we have discussed earlier also. Welding rays may be there. It causes harm to the eyes. Then excessive heat may be there or noise may be there. So all these things come under hazards. Okay, and these are due to the performance on the job. So we can see here from the figures, it is much better to visualize these things, then the understanding is far better. As you can see in this figure, there is a table and it is a sharp edge. If you see in the left hand side at top, then there is a table which has got a sharp edge. So suppose if somebody falls on this sharp edge, it can just pierce his stomach. So it's a very big hazard. Then we have got this, if you come down to the left bottom, there is a machine where due to the type of clothing that worker is wearing, he gets stuck in that. It's a kind of a roller and he is getting rolled inside that. So very big hazard that. And then we have one more thing, like the employee is getting stuck between a roller and between a certain fixed wall is there. So he can get stuck there and get that can cause injury to that particular worker. Okay. Similarly, see here left hand side top figure, the worker there, he is trying to lift something, a carton is there, but the way he is doing that, it's not the right method to do so. Okay, because he can fall over and he can injure himself. Then further you can see right hand side top figure, and there you can see the worker is putting his hand at a certain position which may cause harm to this hand, because there are moving parts there and he is putting his hand inside that. So that's a very difficult position and it should be avoided. Then we see this figure where the left hand side bottom we can see that the ways of lifting a certain object. Okay, so there are two ways which are given, you can see from the figure, that is not right, which that is crossed. So these are the wrong ways, and the correct way is, it is given by a tick in green color. This is the correct way of lifting a certain type of object, and we should do in that manner. Similarly, in the right hand side bottom, we can see how the head of a person is getting engaged in a certain crane type of thing, and he can get injured by this thing. Okay. So what will be the recommendations after seeing these kind of hazards and all those things in our job safety analysis procedure? So first is that job can be performed in other way to eliminate the hazards, such as combining steps or changing the sequence. Then additional safety equipments and precautions are needed to control the hazards. We can have other safety equipments there, or we can list down certain precautions, further precautions to prevent these mishappenings. An alternative or additional procedure is to videotape the worker performing his or her job and analyze the job procedures. So record how he is working on that, and then we can think of something better. And further point is that if safer and better job steps can be used, list each new step, such as describing a new method for disposing of material. Prepare exact list of what the worker needs to know to perform the job using a new method. Suppose a method is changed for working on a certain job. So the procedure and all those things, all the details about performing that job should be enlisted again, because it's a new method. Whether the recommendations are as specific as possible, so that there are no general statements like be careful. So we should not make any kind of general statement like just be careful, because we need to be specific about that kind of job that is being done. We need to give specific instructions for performing that job, not general statements like be careful. So one more thing that can be done is set up a training program using the job safety analysis to retrain your employees in the new procedures, retrain your employees, especially if they are working with highly toxic substances or in hazardous situations. So suppose we are working in a chemical industry and there are hazardous chemicals there. So retraining is very, very important. Then try to know whether any physical changes such as redesigning of equipment, changing tools, adding machine guards, personal protective equipment or ventilation will eliminate or reduce the danger. Analyze whether hazards are still present after doing all these things. If yes, try to reduce the necessity for performing the job or the frequency of performing it. Suppose we are doing a certain job and the hazards exist after all the recommendations also, then we need to just get rid of that thing, or we need to perform it on a very rare basis. Also go over the recommendations with all employees performing the job. Their ideas about the hazards and proposed recommendations may be valuable because they are performing the job regularly, so their ideas should be taken, must be taken. And be sure that they understand what they are required to do and the reasons for the changes in the job procedures. So they should understand what they are required to do. That means that proper training should be given on performing that particular type of job in the shop floor or the workshop. And if there are certain changes, then we should also give them the reasons for the changes in the job procedures. So all these are the various recommendations for removing all kinds of hazards in our workplace and for making our workplace a safer area in which the workers will not be scared to work, and it will provide a better environment to all, even the machinery as well as the personnel working there. So this was all about job safety analysis. Thank you very much for this session.